can't believe how much of this conference is about me. It's all about me. I mean, I'm over 50. I ain't gonna tell y'all how much I am over 50. I fall in that demographic of people that moved from a single family home to an apartment. Once upon a time, I did a whole lot of shopping in first buildings and then malls, and now mixed use facilities. I have children who have gone back and forth from my single family home to out of my single family home and back into my single family home. So I found out it's just better to have an apartment because that works. What you do at this conference affects lives. And I want you to know that when you're affecting lives, you got to talk to them and reach them where they are emotionally. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my professional background, how I got here, and why and how I learned that storytelling was the key to me being able to reach my audience. Now, similar to the young lady who was before me, my background was in federal acquisitions. That's the CFCM. I have a master's degree in federal contracting, so I know all about bid proposals. I have evaluated them. I have managed multi-million-dollar contracts, all of that. I've even, after retirement, I taught federal acquisitions. But the one thing that I learned that reached my students was when I told them stories about all of the things I went through as an instructor. When I told them the 3 elements of what makes a contract and used Las Vegas as an example of why a contract can be nullified, they got it. And that's when I learned there's something here. There's something here about storytelling. Storytelling is something that we learn from the time we just get here. There are studies that show that even when a baby is in its mother's womb, if she reads to them, they can remember because they felt her heartbeat and how that heartbeat fluctuates. I want to share with you today how you can do that when you decide to reach a client, to convince your associates that they need to buy into your idea. And most importantly, when you're talking to government people, even though they want to hear the data, if there is a way you can slide in a simple story, you're going to get them. And the reason why is because as human beings, we are hardwired. I'm sure you have heard this before, but we are hardwired for stories. That's how we learn. We learn that way in every culture. This is nothing for one part of the world versus another part of the world. Even before things were written down, it was storytelling that caught the mind's attention. Anybody know who this is? Nobody knows who that is? Okay, who is this?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. And because you were the only person brave enough to answer the question everybody else knew the answer to, I have a special gift for you, sir. If you would come and get it. It's my book, The ABCs of Storytelling for Public Speakers.
Thank you.
You are welcome. See how easy now? He got a story. He gonna go back and say, guess what? I just said it was Wonder Woman and I got a book. Because it does something to you. Now, what is it about Wonder Woman has anything to do with construction? Anybody know? Anybody here in the DC area? Anybody here in the DC area? Nobody here in this room is from the Washington, DC area. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Anybody here in a community where there are empty malls? Malls that are dying. Yes, yes. Depending on the part of the country you're in, they are really dying. Well, let me tell you about Wonder Woman. We have a mall in Alexandria, Virginia called the Landmark Mall. Really, when I was growing up, it was the Landmark Shopping Center. They converted it to a mall. The last building that was alive in there was Sears. Sears is now dead. We have a completely dead mall, but guess who is moving in? Wonder Woman. They're getting ready to do Wonder Woman Part 2 in the Landmark Mall because different organizations are finding reuse, using stories to give old facilities a new flavor. This also was a mall. This is a senior citizen facility now, designed in a way for people who are in their 70s and 80s to look like things were when they were in their 40s and 50s and 30s, to help them with memory. This is rewriting and refurbishing old malls. This is a mall that is alive and well, but the way things are going now, these malls are going to change. And the question is, how can you reprogram your colleagues and communities? And how you're going to do it is through not only the data to support your argument, but through a story or many stories to do it. The reason here is this is what's called a story arc. Every story has it. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And these elements of story cause the brain to trigger. This is your brain on story. You begin to mirror and experience what is going on. You also begin to relate to the individual. Now, some of you, when you first saw that Wonder Woman picture, you may have gone back to when you first saw it, or you may have said, I remember when I played like I was Wonder Woman. But it causes you to relate. There are certain chemicals, which I'm going to get into, that the brain begins to reflect. One is dopamine, and dopamine causes you to focus because it causes an emotional reaction. It also gets you motivated. Man, I want to learn a little bit more about this storytelling thing. And most importantly, you will remember. You remember when there's a story. He had mentioned that my son, who's 38 years old now, was hit by a car when he was 6 years old. He was hit by a car because he stole somebody's bike and was riding in an area where the driver couldn't see him. But the experience of going through 30 plus years of raising a child with brain injury was very challenging. And there are things that even this industry can do for parents and other caregivers who are dealing with someone with some type of long-term illness. The other thing, which I just shared with you, was about causing that emotion, those chemical things to go. Oxytocin, that's a chemical that causes you to have emotions. You feel like, man, I really want to help this person. You get a sense of trust with them, and you bond. This is the love potion right here. So when you're going out and you want that loved one, or you feel something for your child, or any of those things, when you want to reach an audience, tell them a personal story, one that is touching. The oxytocin will help you out with that. And finally, the other chemical transmitter are endorphins. They cause creativity to well up inside of you, but also because there's mirroring, it causes your listener to also relax, and they also want to be focused on you because they begin to care about what you care about. Now, I teach this course. I could go and teach this class all day long, but I don't have that kind of time. So how we're going to finish this session is for you to talk to me a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about when you find yourself in a situation where you have to convince someone to do something or to buy into something, where you think storytelling may be able to help you. Anyone? Questions?